We have 7 days left, not because I think the world ends in a week, not because I'm here to sell you some fantasy about tanks in the streets and the skies falling tomorrow. I mean, we have 7 days left in the sense that the warning window is open right now, and once that window closes, most people will do what they always do. They will react too late. Because over in Ireland, we have just watched what happens when rising fuel costs spill out of headlines and into real life. Blocked roads, disrupted depots, petrol stations running dry, police moving in, government scrambling. And the reason I want to talk about this today is simple. If you live here in Britain, this is no longer some distant problem that only matters to people who follow geopolitics. This is now a real world warning sign right on our doorstep. Welcome back to Charlie's Survival. If you care about calm, practical UK preparedness without the drama, subscribe now. And comments below one thing you would top up this week if you felt disruption getting closer. Fuel, food, cash, batteries, or something else. Because what's happening in Ireland matters, and no, I'm not saying Britain is Ireland. I'm not saying the exact same thing happens here in the exact same way on the exact same timeline. But I am saying this, when you see nearby countries start to wobble under fuel pressure, cost of living pressure and public anger, you pay attention. You do not laugh it off, you do not assume it could never happen here. You do not wait until it's trending on every app and people are queuing at the pumps. You use it as a warning. That is what this video is about. I want to show you three things. First, what's actually happening in Ireland without the noise. Second, why that matters for Britain even if our situation is not identical. And third, what I would do in the next 7 days if I wanted my household to become calmer, steadier and harder to shake if this starts spilling across the water. Because most people hear the phrase civil unrest and they imagine one dramatic movie scene, but real disruption is often much quieter than that. It starts with fuel getting tighter, costs climbing, people getting angry, haulers and farmers feeling squeezed, roads slowing down, deliveries getting harder, rumours spreading faster than facts. Then panic buying does the rest. This is how modern systems wobble, not always with one giant collapse, sometimes with 1,000 little failures at once. And that is why Ireland matters. This was not someone online tweeting and shouting about collapse. This was a real reminder that when fuel pressure gets hard enough, ordinary life starts becoming less ordinary very quickly. This is the part I think a lot of people miss. They think the danger begins when shelves are empty. It does not. The danger begins when trust disappears. When people stop trusting prices, stop trusting supplies, stop trusting the next week will feel normal. And when that trust goes, behaviour changes. That is when people rush. That is when they overbuy. That is when they block roads. That is when governments stop sounding relaxed and start sounding reactive. And if you're in the UK right now, ask yourself honestly, are people feeling more secure or less secure? Do things feel cheaper or tighter? Do people feel calmer or more frustrated? Because Britain does not need a dramatic trigger to feel strain. We already have the ingredients that make strain spread. High household pressure, public distrust, dependence on road transport, a cost of living mindset where millions of people are already close to their limit. So when I say 7 days left, what I really mean is this: we have a short period now where you can still prepare quietly before everyone else starts reacting emotionally. That is the difference. Preparedness is easier before the crowd moves. Once the crowd moves, prices move, stock moves, traffic moves, and your options shrink. So what am I doing? The first thing is fuel. Not panic buying, not filling jerry cans like you're filming a Hollywood trailer, just getting sensible. If the car is on quarter of a tank, I would not be leaving it there this week. If you run tools, a generator or anything fuel dependent, I'd make sure you know what you actually have, what condition it is in, and how long it would actually last. A lot of people feel prepared because they have some fuel. That means nothing. How much? Stored where? For what purpose? How long does it last? What is the plan when it runs low? Fuel is not just movement, it is options. And when options disappear, stress rises. There is laws on fuel storage, so please do your research for your area. Second, I'm deepening the food in the house. Again, not panic buying, not 10 years of freeze-dried meals if you cannot afford them. I mean a proper British household buffer. Food that you already eat in your household, food you can cook simply. Food that gives you breathing room if deliveries slow down, prices spike again, or people start clearing basics faster than shops can refill them. So rice, pasta, oats, tins, tea, coffee, salt. Cooking oil, long life milk, easy calories, simple proteins. Nothing glamorous, just margin. This is what most people are really missing, margin. A household with no margin feels every wobble. A household with margin can absorb it. Third, I'm preparing for disruption without calling it collapse. This means lighting, charging, communications, basic cash, and a simple plan. Could you handle a power cut tonight? Could you handle card machines going down for a few hours? Could you handle your local station being empty? Could you handle needing to stay home for 2 or 3 days without needing to rush anywhere? That is a level I want people thinking at, not fantasy bunkers, not end of the world roleplay, just normal British resilience. And this is where a lot of people overcomplicate it. They think preparedness is one giant purchase. It's not. It's usually 10 sensible decisions made before other people feel the need to make them. This is why the next 7 days matter, because by the time everyone agrees that there is a problem, the best window has already gone. And by the way, a lot of you ask me what kit I'd actually buy first, what kit I rate, and what I think is worth having without wasting money. So if you want a practical place to start, my Charlie Survival Amazon kit list is in the description. It's there to save you time, not send you into a gear rabbit hole. And if you want a completely free starting point, grab my blackout checklist in the pinned comment. It's a simple, practical download to help you spot the obvious gaps fast. And for those of you who want the full UK-specific step-by-step version, my course, the UK Crisis Readiness System, goes much deeper than this video. It is built for British households. There are 40 active members in there now. The feedback has been really positive and it's currently half price for the Easter holidays. But whether you get any of that or not, the main thing is this: do something, don't just observe. Now, the fourth thing I'm doing this week is reduce unnecessary dependency. This is the bit people do not want to hear because it's less exciting than buying kit, but it matters more. How dependent are you on daily top-ups, daily shopping, daily driving, daily app-based convenience, daily deliveries, daily electric dependency? If your whole life only works smoothly when every system works smoothly, then small disruptions will feel big. That is why I always say home first resilience matters more than drama. You do not need to outrun chaos, you need to make your home less fragile. And that might mean topping up prescriptions, withdrawing a sensible amount of cash in small notes, making sure your torch actually works, checking your power banks, making sure you have a way to boil water if the electric goes, checking in with family and asking the unglamorous but important question: if things felt tense for a week or two, are we actually set up for that? That is a much better question than asking whether society is about to collapse, because most suffering in these situations does not come from the big headline. It comes from the small underpreparedness. No backup light, no spare food, no plan for travel, no cushion in the budget, no idea who in the family needs what. That is where stress lives, and that is why I think the Irish story matters so much for Britain. It's not just a political story, it's a pattern. Rising pressure, public reaction, supply disruption, government's response, and then a race between calming people down and losing control of the mood. Britain is still in the stage where a lot of people will dismiss this. This is exactly why now is the right time to prepare. The best preparedness window is when other people still think you are slightly early, because slightly early becomes right on time very quickly. Now, to be clear, I'm not telling you to go frighten your family. I'm not telling you to make wild claims. I'm not telling you to treat every price rise like the first domino of collapse. I'm telling you to be an adult, to notice patterns, to reduce fragility, and stop assuming that because the shelves look normal today, they must look normal next week. Ireland is the warning, Britain is the question, and if the pressure keeps building here, it does not take much for the mood to shift. A few shortages, a few convoy videos, a few blocked roads, a few stories of pumps running dry, a few people deciding they need to grab what they can. That is all it takes to turn anxiety into behaviour. So yes, the title says we have 7 days left, but really what I mean is we still have a short stretch of time where quiet preparedness beats public reaction. Use it. Top up the basics, check the house, reduce your weak points. Think about transport, think about power, think about food, think about cash. Think about what would make your week easier if things got awkward fast. That is preparedness. It is not fear, it is not paranoia, it is responsibility. And it is a lot easier to do now than later. So if this video helped you think more clearly, hit like, hype and subscribe, and comment below what you think Britain is most vulnerable to first: fuel, food prices, power, transport disruption, or public panic. And your next step generally should be the free blackout checklist in the pinned comment. That is the easiest place to start. If you want a deeper, complete plan for a UK household, then the UK Crisis Readiness System is the next level after that. It's built for British households who do not just want awareness, but a calm, structured plan. There's 5 days left on the sale, and you can find it in the pinned comment. And if you just want to see the gear I would actually recommend for normal British readiness, my Charlie Survival Amazon kit list is in the description. If you gain something from this video, I recommend watching this one on screen next about something that's happening in UK waters that affects everything. Click it, stay prepared, not scared, and I'll see you over there.